Okay, set the camera up for this. This deserves an explanation. When you're working on vintage stuff, you work on one thing and then things break. Example here in my hand. Let me introduce this into the equation also. That piece. This right here is the clutch adjuster mechanism. This item right here. Okay. What it does is this goes through the side of the bell housing, and this thing right here rides like this. See that? Just like that. And this right here, this goes inside of here. Like that, and that's in there. So when you turn this right here, this eccentric pretty much raises and lowers or forth and aft the clutch pedal, and that adjusts the clutch pedal play. Simple design, I guess, but here's the problem. When I went to do the adjustment and tighten it up, this nut right here kept getting closer and closer out. So I'm like, man, what's going on? So what was going on is it was being pulled out of this thing right here, out of this press fit, weld fit, whatever fit. So now my problem is what happened was it was in all the way in depth and it got pulled out. And I'm like, man, it never tightened up. So now my dilemma is I clean this up a bit. It's got years of oil and dirt inside of here, but it's got like brass weld rod or something. However they did this, some kind of I don't know what they did back then, but it's on this one also. You can see up inside of there. It's nice and all inside of there. I guess they brazed it with some kind of brass rod back in the 40s. But they filled it all in. So my thing is, I got to put this back in. See, it goes all the way in there. I cleaned it up. So I got to figure out what I'm going to put this back in with. But whatever I do, I was going to try to like do a tack weld it, and see if it'll hold. I'm not sure. I know I don't have any of that rod, whatever type they used back then. So what I was gonna do was just put this back in and drill through both of these if I can, and put a pin in it and see if that'll keep it from pulling out, and hopefully it'll keep it so it can turn without ringing off the pin. But I know you can't put it in halfway. You got to put it in a whole distance so the pin can hold on both sides of this thing to keep it from rotating. So I might fire up my Cobra torch and try that. And see, that's risky because if I do that and it heats up this side, now I got two sides to worry about. Because this side right here didn't pull out. It's still poured in there and it's solid. And it's not pulling out. You see? It's still in there nice and tight on this side. This is the one that I'm worried about right here, but this right here it's got to be able to do the rotational and not come back out this way. So that's where I'm at right now. So I keep a whole bunch of stuff, you know what I mean? Stuff meaning like miscellaneous stainless steel nuts, bolts. I'm gonna try to see if I can find something that I can think that's gonna be sturdy enough for this. Even if well, that's pretty small. I haven't seen a grade 8 boat that small. It's got to be small. A lot smaller than that. You see what I'm saying? You can't drill the whole thing out of there. You know, it's got to be a small bolt and nut. So I got to do some digging and some thinking, because this right here is going to be critical. This little device right here plays a big role. And it's not like you can go to the store and find it. You're not buying it anywhere. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I have another tractor, but I don't want to pull it off of that because then I have to replace that one. So I need to fix this. So that's when your challenge is always having to come up with a solution. And luckily, people say, oh man, you keep all kind of crap. But all of that crap keeps all of my stuff operational. So I didn't know I was going to be faced with this dilemma right here. But I got to come up with a solution. So anytime you're working on old stuff or vintage stuff or fragile stuff, I tell people, man, hey, look, disassemble things carefully, because if it breaks, now another problem is on your plate. Now, mind you, this is mine. What if this was a customer's and I was installing that clutch and this happened? The tractor still ain't gonna be running. It'll run. Clutches in, well, you can't install a clutch because you can't put it together before you put this in. So this is how you come up and be faced with setbacks. This piece right here, like I said, you're not finding it at a parts store. This is a one-off piece made for this particular issue, and you got to come up with a solution. So now it's either going to have to be brazed or I put a pin in it. But like I said, if I braze it, I run the risk of loosening up the braze on this side. So my solution right now would be, if I put a pin in it, I'll drill both of these and put a pin in both sides and take my chances. So I thought about this right here while I was sleeping. See, the best work that you do, or what I do, is I try to solve problems when I'm sleeping. And by the time when I wake up, I have some kind of angle or idea that you need to go with. And yeah. And I'm still thinking now. But I appreciate y'all watching, following along. And like I said, you never know what you're up against. But I sure didn't think that I had to spend time to do this. But like I said, this introduced itself. And now I got this on my plate. And it's more time. Instead of having this thing buttoned up, now I gotta figure out how to do this now. You see what I'm saying? Time, you don't never get it back, but you got to keep at it until the thing is operational. And it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. And I'll show you what my fix that I came up with. It might work long term, or it might be a flop, but hopefully it'll not be a temporary thing, because I'll know it, because every time you push that pedal, it works through this. You know, it's gotta keep that pedal still. This right here is not gonna be moving back and forth. Once this thing tightens up against the side of the transmission housing, this stays in a certain spot. So it's not moving back and forth, but it's got to stay taut. You know, it's going to be, when this right here gets tight, it's going to keep it in the position where the clutch pedal, where this thing is going to be. See, this is going to just hold this. This right here, the throwout bearing goes in the center of here. So this right here is just pivoting back and forth. So this is not rotating either with it. It's just holding it still on the bottom. And this right here is what goes back and forth with the throwout bearing inside of it. So whatever I do here, as long as it don't pull out, it's gonna work. So you got to understand the operational forces and what the thing is going to be up against to come up with the proper solution. So that's where I'm at. Again, thanks for watching. Problem solving. Y'all take it easy.